Okay, guys, this is going to be lesson 19's homework. Again, if you don't finish this in class, it is homework tonight, but you should have plenty of time to get it done, so I'm not really worried about it. Also, before I forget, have a good Thanksgiving, and don't eat too much pie. Mm, I like pie. Okay, on lesson 19's homework, we're going to be on page 101. In the book. So turn to that page if you are not already there. I'm going to give you about another 20 seconds to do that. So again, page 101. Scott Gennardo, did you hear that, buddy? 101. JJ, page 101. Okay, page 101. We are going to start doing our homework in class. Very similar. They already did the first one to us. We are going to do it a little bit different. Over here, we're still going to do that estimate part. We need to do that. It's a really good way to check. And when we get into the harder division, it's going to be really handy. So over here, we're going to put an estimate. Then we're going to still have our actual. And then we're going to have our check. Our check is going to go vertical, which means up and down, not horizontal like what theirs is. Okay? Okay, here we go. Letter B. We have 90 divided by 40. So we're going to start with 90 divided by 40. I'm going to estimate it. So I'm going to change it to 80 divided by 40. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cancel. And 4 goes into 8 two times. So I'm thinking my answer is going to be about 2. Actual. 90 goes in the house. 40 goes outside. 40 goes into 9 0 times. That goes right above the 9. Subtract. Bring down. 40 goes into 90 twice. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 4 is 8. We're left with 10. So our answer is 2 remainder 10. Now we're going to check it. Take my divisor of 40, multiply it by 2. That gives me 80. Take my 80, add on remainder of 10. That gives me 90. Check with your dividend. They are the same number. So I know we did that first, second problem correctly, letter B. Give you some time to copy that down. I went really quickly on that one, and I apologize. I'll slow down on the next one. Okay, the next one. Got 95, and we're going to divide that by 60. There's not really, in looking at this one, a great estimate for this one. So it sounds weird, but for me, I'm going to round to 60, and I'm going to round my 95 to 60. And 60 goes into 60 once. So not a great estimate, but it'll help us a little bit to realize that it should only be going in about one time. We're going to take the 95 and we're going to put it inside our division house. And we're going to put the 60 on the outside. 60 goes into 9 0 times. We put that 0 above the 9. 0 times 60 is 0. We're going to subtract now. 9 take away 0 is 9. And we're going to bring down the 5. Okay, so now we have 60 going to 95. We know 60 times 1 is 60, so that'll work. If we do times 2, 6 times 2 is 12, and add a 0 is 120. So that's too big, so we can't go more than 1. So we're going to put a 1 directly above the 5. 1 times 60 is 60. Subtract with a 5 and a 3. So I've got 1 with a remainder of 35. So now we're going to go through and check it. We're going to start with our divisor of 60. We're going to times that by 1. It's an easy one, hopefully. 60 times 1 is 60. And then we're going to add on our remainder of 35. And we get 95. That is the same dividend, so we know we did that one correctly. Should be getting a little bit easier for you. Okay, let's look at the next one. 280 divided by 30. Can leave it 30. And then if we're looking for something, I'm thinking a 9 times 3 is 27. So I'm going to make this 270. Cancel and cancel. 3 goes into 27 9 times. Okay. Next one. So now we've got to do our actual. 30 on the outside. 280 on the inside. 30 goes into 2 0 times. Gives me a 0. Subtract leaves me with 2. Bring down the 8. 30, 28 still too small. 0, 0. Subtract. Now I've got 280. Okay. I use my estimate over here in 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So if I add a 0, that's 270. That's pretty good. And I can't do 10. That two numbers can't go in one place. So I'm going to put a 9. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. When we subtract, we're going to be left with 10. So I've got 9 remainder 10 as my answer. Now we're going to go through and check it. We're going to take our divisor of 30, multiply it by 9. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. So I've got 270. I'm going to add on my remainder of 10. 270 plus 10 is 280. And if I check, my check matches my dividend. So I know that I'm good on letter D. And I am pausing a bit here on the ends just so that you have enough time to copy them down. Remember, if I am going too quick for you, pause it when it gets to this point and then copy it down. But this should be becoming more fluent for you now and easier for you to follow along as I'm talking to you. Okay, number 20. Going to start with our estimate, 437 divided by 60. I'm going to leave it 60. I know that 6 times 7 is 42, so I'm going to make this into 420. Cancel, cancel. 6 goes into 42 7 times. So I know about 7 is where I need to be when I do my actual. Might be higher, might be lower, might be right at 7. First number is 437, so that's going to go in the house. Second number is 60, that's going to go outside. 60 goes into 4 0 times, right above the 4. 0 times 60 is 0. Subtract, I have a 4. Make sure that bring down arrow goes right down, and the 3's underneath of it. 43 is still too small. 60 can't go into it. Add a 0. 0 times 60 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Subtract 43. And now that arrow is going to come all the way down to show that we have the 7. Okay. Now we're going to look 6. I know that 6 times 7 is 42. Add a 0, that's 420. So that's okay. 6 times 8 is 48. That'd be 480. Too big, so I can't do that. So we're going to use that 7 that we found in our estimate. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. Not cancel, subtract. 7, 3 minus 2 is 1. So I'm going to get 7 with a remainder of 17. And now we're going to go through and we're going to check it. Hopefully it checks out for us. I'm going to take my divisor of 60 and I'm going to multiply it by 7. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. Then I need to go back in and add on my remainder of 17. 7, 3, 4. I'm going to check it. Yes, my check matches my dividend. So I know I did the right answer. Please, when you're doing your checks, don't change your answers just to match your dividends. If you made a mistake, that's why we're doing the check. I want you to go back to see, okay? So make sure you're careful on those as you do them. Okay, 21. Got 346 divided by 80. And by 21, it's slide 21 for me, but it's letter F for you. If I look at this, I'm going to divide by 80. And the first one I think of is 32. Add a 0. Cancel and cancel. It's going to be 4. 8 times 4 is 32. So my estimate is going to be 4. So in my actual, I should be about 4. I'm going to take my 346, and I'm going to divide it by 80. 80 goes into 3 0 times. Subtract, bring down. 80 goes into 34 0 times. That 0 is right above the 4. It's not over to one side or the other. It's right above it, nice and neat. 0 times 80, remember anything times 0 is 0. Subtract, we've got 34. That bring down comes nice and straight down, and we put our 6 in there. Okay, 8. Well, in our estimate, we had a 4, so 8 times 4 is 32. Add a 0 would be 320. That works. Let's try 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Too big. 40 would be bigger than 34. So we're going to use the 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. We're going to subtract, and we get 26. So our answer for this one is 4 with a remainder of 26. Our check. We want to make sure our dividend matches our product in our check. So I'm going to take our divisor of 80, and I'm going to multiply it by 4. It's going to give us a 0 and a 32. I've got a remainder of 26 that I need to add on. So I get 346. I'm going to look back at my dividend, and it matches. So that gives us the okay that we are good to go and we know what we're doing. Okay, next one is going to be those find the number problems that I like. It says a number divided by 40 has a quotient of 6 with a remainder of 16. Find the number. So what you need to remember on these, to do this find the number in division, we're going to have to use the check. First thing I want to go over again though, here's our division sign. This is the dividend. This is the divisor. This is the quotient. So on this one for us, it's saying a number, we don't know what it is, divided by 40, so that's our divisor, has a quotient of 6 with a remainder of 16. So to find this number again, we use our check to find the number. So since we know how to do the check, this is how we can find out how to get this number. So to find that number, we do our check, which means we're going to take our divisor and multiply it by our quotient. So we're going to take our 40 and we're going to multiply it by 6. That's going to give us 240. And then we need to add on our remainder of 16, which is going to give us 256. So that number right here should be 256. But now we're going to check it just to make sure. So if I have 40 going into 256, 0 times, 0 again, think 4 times 6 is 24. That's close to 25. 4 times 7 is 28. That's too big. So we're going to go with 4 times 6. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 4 is 24. We're going to subtract, and we're left with 16. So 6, remainder 16. Good, it worked. So the number that is missing, the missing number dividend would be 256. Okay, next one. It says a shipment of 228 reams of paper was delivered. Each of the 30 classrooms received an equal share of the paper. Any extra reams of paper were stored. After the paper was distributed to the classrooms, how many reams of paper were stored? So we're going to start with 288 divided by 30. Divide by 30. Uh, 9 times 3 is 27, so that's pretty close. Cancel, cancel. So that's going to give us about 9 as our answer. Now, we're not estimating here. We want to actually know how many were stored. Were stored. We don't want the estimate. We want an actual for this one. So we're going to take our 30 classrooms and we're going to divide up that 288 reams of paper. 30 cannot go into 2, so that's a 0. Subtract, we're left with 2. Bring down the 8. 30 can't go into 28, so that's another 0. Subtract, bring down the 8. In our estimate, I got 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Really, we can't go up to 10 because you can't put 2 numbers in the place. You can only put 1 number in each place. So I'm going to put a 9 here. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 3 is 27. When we subtract, we get 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. So we get 9, remainder 18. Now we're going to check it to make sure we did this correctly. So we're going to take our 30 and we're going to multiply it by 9. Gives us 270. And we're going to add on our remainder of 18. Gives us 288. Checks out with our dividend. Now the question said after the paper was distributed to the classrooms, how many reams of paper were stored? So right now in our answer, each classroom gets 9 reams. So each class gets 9 reams of paper. The leftover paper is what is stored. The leftover paper ends up being our remainder. That's what's left over. The remaining $18 reams of paper are stored away. Period. Okay, number 4. Last one we've got. How many groups of 60 are in 244? So 60, 244. So how many groups of 60 are in 244? So that means we have 244. We're dividing it by 60. If I estimate that, I've got 60. I'm going to make that 240. 6 goes into 24 4 times. Now we're going to do our actual. So I got 244, and I want to know how many groups of 60 we can do if there's 244. 60 cannot go into 2. We're putting a 0 up there to hold that place. Subtract, we get 2. 60 cannot go into 24 again, 0. Subtract, we get 24. Bring down the 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So that's what we're going to use for this one. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. And when we subtract, we're left with 4. So we get 4 with a remainder of 4. So it's asking how many... Ooh, we didn't check it. Check it, check it, check it. Make sure we did it right. So we got to do 60 times 4 is 240, plus a remainder of 4 gives us 244. Checks out. Good. Okay. So now we got to go back to the question. How many groups of 60 are in 244? We only want the answer part here. So how many groups of 60 are in 244? There are 4 groups of 60 in 244 with 4 left over. Okay, and that is today's lesson. Have a great Thanksgiving break, and I'll see you when I'm back on Monday.